I think we're live. Hopefully we're live. We'll
Hello,
find out.
AOS fans!
Hello, it's the Agents of Sigmar. And this
Sigmar.
is our attempts at going live on one of our, hopefully, slightly more regular weekly affairs.
Yes, I do like a weekly affair.
I'd settle for a bi-monthly one, frankly. And hopefully lots of people
Anybody
will
there?
start tuning in soon. We'll get lots of people watching. I will quickly post a link up online so that everybody's aware that we are online and ready to roll.
Ready to roll. Ready to roll. Top chat.
So
So no live and nobody's watching.
oh, sad times. So what are we going to be talking about tonight, Robin? You kick off things whilst I send out the word.
What word? You're talking to me.
On
Sorry.
Facebook and everywhere.
I'm just watching me. We're quite a long way behind on YouTube. It's quite amusing. I did my little dance about a minute ago.
Well, stop sitting there staring
on
yourself on
YouTube.
YouTube and start talking, man.
Oh, somebody's watching. Hello, somebody's
Hello,
watching.
whoever's watching.
Yeah, so I suppose the reason for tonight's talk about the bombshell, if it was that Games Workshop delivered this week, which was about the eradication, the removal, the annihilation, if you will, the escalation of getting rid of the Shadespire cards. And it's been met with lots of noise on the internet. I mean, like most things are.
Much noise.
And I think we're just going to talk about it, what we think it might mean for the game, whether we think it's a good thing, whether we think it's a bad thing. And yeah.
It's worth pointing out at this point that anybody who hasn't really normally watched our show, and I'm sure that everybody that's watching so far has already watched our show, but just in case you're watching this later on, a couple of months later, we know nothing more than anybody else online. we have no inside information. In fact, if possible, we know even less than the average person online. So it's worth just bearing that in mind with whatever we say. Dwayne says it's a shame Curse Breakers aren't season 1. Well, it's worth pointing out straight away that the warbands are still in. So here is a quick flash up of the warbands. If I can get it to show up in front, just going to try and work that out now. Order.
Very excited. Yes, the warbands will be carrying on, but it's just those universal cards. So we're going to have to say goodbye to old friends like Escalation and Distraction, and of course, Pete.
Ready for action!
Guess that out completely.
I've got no idea if we got that in time at all. It probably is horrific. It's why we should only do this normally. So here is a quick image I'm flashing up on screen. Hopefully everyone can see that of what's happening, and pretty much everything's got nice green ticks next to it. All the warbands and warband cards are still there. All the universal cards are still there, except for season 1. Season 1 will no longer be there.
No, season 1 universals.
Yes, season 1 universals. Yes, the warband and the warband specific cards from season 1 are still up for grabs.
Okay, I think everybody knows that though, Pete. So what do we think about it? What do you think about it?
What do I think about it? I had a little bit of a cry for a little while. We're losing some absolutely cornerstone cards as we just run through a few of them. Things like, Advancing Strike, Alone in the Darkness, Escalation. They're all going. And for a little while, I was like, wow, that's actually. I'm not sure what to do with that information, but I'm already looking forward to what we're going to get now. I'm already looking forward to trying to build new lists, new setups, using stuff that isn't just obvious.
Yeah, well, Ando Pank has already said here that he's played a few games with his girlfriend, and it was crazy fun because cards I've never used before have come out. So I can completely see that.
Yep.
It's really nice to use a different card set, and I have to say I'm completely more energised for Beastgrave now because I have. Before I was thinking, well, what's Beastgrave going to bring? It's going to bring another 600 cards to what we've already got 1,100 cards. So you're looking at 1,700 cards. Like, I can't even choose 32 of what we've got already without adding a load more in. So I'm on that level. I'm really pleased that they got rid of it. And as Joe says here, I think they will repurpose some of the.
Well, we've already seen one, haven't we?
Well, exactly. It's quite interesting they chose that one, but there's going to be a lot of tighter wording around and make sure it matches new kind of wording system like Surge. So there might be a new Advancing Strike, so you mentioned that, and that will have Surge score immediately if to try and
You did a little bit, but you keep.
Did I break
keep
up there?
Don't
'Cause I
worry,
seem to have
it'll catch
frozen.
up eventually. So, apologies to anyone watching online if
Alright.
this all goes a bit wrong, because this is the first time we have tried to set up this whole setup, and it might just be that we need more power in our machines. I'm trying to run this all off my Mac, and it might just explode. So we'll see how we get on.
Yeah, and I'm sitting in the garage.
Yeah.
The first time we've set up internet in the garage as well. So it's all there's so many
it's not
places
like,
where it could go horribly wrong.
This is we have not been thorough in our setup here. We've just plugged it in and seen what happens. Anybody who watched last week will have seen us for the first 10 minutes of me just talking to myself because we didn't have any audio for Robin.
But then we didn't have any pictures of you, did we? So we actually might have got more views last week than we will this week.
It's so cruel. So we'll see how we get on.
Any idea when the season 1 cards won't be used anymore? Are they already?
Yes, go.
Shall I speak?
Go on, go for it.
Can you hear me, Pete? Sorry, Dwayne has asked. Any idea when the season 1 cards won't be used anymore? Are they already not allowed to be used? So basically, VJ's just posted a link on Discord. Thank you. But yes, I think basically it's going to be when Beastgrave hits the season 1 cards won't be allowed. I think I assume that's how they're playing it. So I'm guessing any grand clashes that are between now and when Beastgrave drops, if there are any, can use the full card set. But I would probably check with my tournament organiser if I was going to one between now and
Luke
the end of
says that it
September.
wipes out a chunk of the bar list, so perhaps a bit more room for more varied decks and creativity. And yes, I do think that is the case. I went back and looked at a few of the lists that I'd built previously and used in other games, and slim on the ground is fair to say. Once I chunked out all of the Shadespire ones, it was quite horrific, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to look at my deck. So I think there was Goss 100 deck. I think there were loads of ploys that were from Shadespire and no upgrades or something like that. Yeah, we'll see. I can't fully remember now. I mean, I think this card rotation is a great idea, and I thought a lot about it. There's been a lot of noise online about whether it's good for the game or people moaning that it's going to ruin their collections. Well, I kind of feel like there are 3 people this affects. There's kind of like those of us who are all in already, and we were going to carry on being all in pretty much whatever Games Workshop did. I think so. It doesn't really affect them. There's people who are new to the game, and I have to say, if you were looking at it new to the game, and you were looking at coming in at Beastgrave, and you had 2 seasons to go back and collect really good cards from, I think you just go, well, I'm not playing that. That's ridiculous, because I'm not buying all that just to play this new game, and I'm not going to go backwards and play all that. And then the third couple of people are people who haven't really bought into the game and weren't going to buy into Beastgrave. And it is a shame that you won't be able to play competitively, but at the end of the day, Games Workshop want to sell more product.
Yeah.
And they're a business, and if they don't sell more product, they go out of business and they don't make any games.
And to be fair,
so
a lot of the buy-in. So I was going to say, a lot of the buy-in for GW, Underworlds probably has one of the lowest buy-ins, really, when you look at the cost of it versus what you'd have to buy.
And you can still use
a
good chunk of your cards anyway.
Yes.
Okay, you can't use the universals, but Games Workshop, if you weren't going to be interested in going into Beastgrave, they probably weren't that interested anyway, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I'm afraid. But I think for the health of the game and for the variation it brings, it's a good thing.
Definitely. Now I have here, and hopefully this will show up. This is the before of the bar list. Now I've got to try and work out how to send it to the front again. So
just while you're doing that, VJ says he agrees. He thinks card cycling would be good to keep the wordings updated, especially now they're bringing in keywords. Definitely, VJ. And I think that we might find there's less. I know they've said that basically the sort of third season, as it were, will keep dropping out, so there'll only ever be 2 live seasons. I wonder whether as it goes forward and the keywords get more consistent, we might actually see more reprints, because they don't need to reprint as many of the old cards because they all work to the same key. So I think maybe this is almost like Shadespire was our experiment. We didn't quite know how it was going to go. We didn't know whether it was going to be popular. We've learnt a lot from it. Now thank you, Shadespire. We have to say goodbye to you, and then everything we've learnt, we've tightened up. We're bringing it into Beastgrave, and then probably into whatever the next season's going to be called. And then by the time we get to there, the Nightvault cards go out, and Beastgrave and the new system, whatever season 4 will be called, will be very, very similar. And so when season 5 comes, you might find that actually there's very little they'll still cycle out cards, but it'll be very easy for them to do copies, because they can't really do copies of some of the cards now because the terminology's changed, and so they couldn't call. I can't think of an example. I should have looked one up, but they can't call certain cards the same thing, because you could play the same card from Shadespire, but the new terminology is needed. So that's why they just need to get that system.
It has to happen, really, and I think it's good. It'll help the game grow, and it'll help it become a tighter game overall, and it'll help it become a much more defined game once they can get those keywords really bedded in. And I think we'll see several old fan favourites re-emerge with just the better wordings. I hope, anyway.
I think so. VJ says he's more excited about it now that even though he has to scrap his Shadespire Universals. No, but I think I said that before you joined us, VJ. I feel like I was a bit about Beastgrave coming, because it's like just another more cards. But this, I feel excited now because it's fresh, and it's each one actually makes a significant difference to the available card pool. So
I have flashed up on the screen a list of all of the current cards in the current bar list, and it's a fairly long set. Now, if I hide that and I bring up what it's going to look like in the new world, let me just use a little bit of IT magic, and hopefully, bling, there we go. This is what the new list looks like, and it's plenty chopped down, I think you'll agree. I'm sure anybody who can read has already looked through this, because it says right next to them which ones are Shadespire and which ones aren't. So the cards we've got left on the bar list is Acolyte the Cataphragms, Burst of Speed, Calculated Risk, Fired Up, Loner, Longstrider, Sorcerer's Scouring, Warning Shot. I mean, there's definitely some on there that were firm favourites, but not a lot of them feature very often. Things like Well of Power, for example, only became popular near the end, I think, near the last few Grand Clashes, and things like Sorcerer's Flourish and Sphere of Actually.
I think it's quite a late card in. Well of Power, wasn't it? It's quite a late card in. I think that's why. This is an immense card. A couple of comments here. Just Mostian says they would do ready for action, but can't activate someone who's already charged or something. Yeah, I think that's probably right, but of course they can't call it ready for action. They have to call it something else. And Pete and I have been racking our brains trying to think of other things.
More ready for action. Readier for action.
And the only readier for action. The only things I can think of are vaguely rude, so I won't say them. Faintly aroused, but
so Joe has said that he's been put off buying 2 sets of each warband, so that he and his girlfriend each have a copy of the card. And I think if you were doing that before, I think personally I would just buy one, and then I would print or photocopy and sleeve other cards.
Me too.
So apologies to any of our Patreon viewers who are coming in late. That was my fault. I hadn't set it up properly, so I need to be a bit more on the ball at the start. But we were setting this up very last minute. This is all still very much a work in progress, and we're trying to work out the best way to do this. So do bear with us. Yeah.
Okay. So Joe, I was just you were just agreeing with Joe, weren't you? Well, you were saying copy the cards. I think I would do that too. And of course, if you are just playing with your girlfriend. I don't know if you are just playing with her, but you can still play with the Shadespire cards, because that's the other thing. You don't have to. It's only in competitions that Shadespire cards are banned.
Any family-friendly games? Any?
Well,
I think you probably put Faintly Aroused on some boxes rather than a T-shirt. And you can still use all of these in friendly games, like you say. So this is only in really strict tournament settings, or we'll probably stick to it because. I think people want to see that on the channel at least, so that's what we'll be doing. But there's nothing stopping other people at home from just playing whatever they like still.
No, absolutely. Because Dwayne, again, he's sad about not being able to use his old cards anymore, especially after spending so much money on warbands just for the cards. Yeah, I do kind of see that, but I mean, Pete and I have obviously bought everything twice, so that we can make decks, and kind of do feel.
And yes,
it's a shame that. Gone, but we're still going to buy the new warbands anyway. So we didn't buy anything just for the cards. We're in a slightly different position,
we realised that you probably keep things official most of the time. I'm sure most people probably do most of the time keep things fairly.
That was the one thing I kind of did feel for the people who were saying, well, I can't play these now. Lots of people were saying, oh, but you can, because it's in friendlies you can play them. And Pete and I don't play very often outside of the garage. Well, I wonder how often, even if you're playing semi-casually, just going down to the club, if you turn up with a load of out of print cards,
season
print
cards,
but effectively banned cards, season 1, what's their reception going to be, because people do like to play. We get comments on it, and even if we recorded a video and they dropped a bar list just before it was about to go out, we still put it out, people still go, oh, you can't play that, it's bad. And you kind of think, well, if that's the situation, what is it going to be like for the guy who goes down to the club and wants to play with his old cards because he hasn't got very many, for whatever reason, and will they be welcomed? I hope they will. I think a lot of people will welcome them, but it's still embarrassing having that conversation. I think if you can't afford more cards, you don't want to have to say, oh look, I've only got a couple of packs from season 1 because I couldn't buy all in. You don't want to have to say that necessarily. So I don't know. It is a shame.
And Ed is saying, how do we think Shades by Warband's being disconnected will affect their resale value? Well, I think anybody who's got them right now, who's going to stick them on eBay anytime soon, might want to keep hold of them for a little bit, and they might be able to sell them for a chunk more money in the not too distant future.
Possibly so. I don't know.
Now, a lot of people are already saying
I don't know.
Trap is on the bar list already, and we already know that one of the Beastgrave cards coming out is Ensnare, which is pretty much Trap, but with tighter wording. So that's almost definitely going to land on the bar list very, very quickly. So I am wondering...
Yeah, is it going to go straight on, do you think? Or are they going to wait for a little bit and then do it?
They might have a Grand Clash or something with Beastgrave out, give some people time to win a trophy or two, and then they'll release a bar list with those things on it. But I don't think it'll be long afterwards that they'll release that bar list.
No, because there's bound to be some favourite cards. I'm kind of assuming there'll be a whole slew of cards very quickly. I think last year we got the core set, 2 warbands followed up very quickly, and then they did the Echoes of Glory pack with the Shadespire, the 2 from the Shadespire core set. So I'm assuming they're going to be similar. So I think very, very quickly we're going to get a whole load of cards, and then not long after that, when there's been some tournaments,
and I do
we'll get a bar list.
Last year we got the Gits and the Eyes very soon after release. It was almost like release, and then 2-3 weeks later they announced the Gits and the Eyes.
It was a bit. Oh my god! Games Workshop's not doing this to us. They did it with Warcry last week, and with the Allies.
I mean, I don't mind too much, but I don't know if they actually need to do that this time. I'd like to see a little bit more of a gap before they start to release new warbands. Give people a chance to see the new cards and play things. Just give us a little bit of time after the death of Shadespire to adjust and come to terms with what's happened and the changes that have been wrought.
Rob Barter said, hello, what is your guys' favourite ploy card? I think everybody knows what our favourite ploy card is, but while we're not sitting in the same room, it's really hard to harmonise on that ready for action. So I'm afraid we're just going to have to. We're not going to be able to do it for you, but we will do it again. We'll make sure we do it at least once more.
Ready for action, but yeah, definitely ready for action.
Glad we didn't spend money on getting that renowned guitarist to do the riff for us, because that could have been pretty. Do you have any predictions or hopes for the next set of warbands for Beastgrave outside those in the starter set? I'm really bad at predicting, and I gave up hope a long time ago.
Generally, whatever we predict, they go completely the opposite
no, I don't
way.
know.
It's usually how it goes.
We will need a new.
I do like the fact that in Dreadfane there are already a couple of cards in there for anybody who hasn't seen it. We have done a couple of battle reports, and they will be coming out next week. We have done some Dreadfane games, and the spookies in that have a couple of really nice objective-based objectives, which really give me hope that objective play is going to come back into it strong and is going to be a force to rival all our aggro warbands. Really am hoping for that, because they're really nice cards.
So I wonder if we say something like the keys back, because obviously the
keys are gone.
Have gone. That's kind of like a kind of viable option for objective-based wargames. But I too hope that there will be some good objective-based objectives, and just a few more things about make you think about where you're putting your models. I think by the end of Nightvolt, it was too easy to score glory just wherever you were on the board, and you didn't really have to think too much about what you were doing. He says I got annihilated a lot, but it's kind of there's one I did my deck review for the. Which I just realised I haven't edited yet, for the Condemners, and there's a nice card in there where you have to knock somebody back into it and then leave them adjacent to another one of your models to get glory. I think that's quite nice. You've got to think about where you position person A and person B to knock person X into them. I think that kind of interaction I like in the game.
Than just run over, kill person, run over, kill another person.
Or just run through a particular hex as well, or miss the person.
Dwayne has said predictions for new warbands. We've done that in previous lives, and Nurg was definitely one that we'd both like to see come out in this season.
Relaunch Plutonium.
Never going to get Plutonium, Robin. You're just not going to get it. Dick Hubert has said, looking at the card cycle deck, which warbands are going to be hit the hardest. Now, I was thinking about this earlier because people were saying, what's going to be the top tier warband? I'm thinking, probably a bit early to tell. I think the only way you can really tell that would be to look at the warbands coming in the top 10s in tournaments and seeing how many Shadespire cards they've got. And the ones that have more Shadespire cards in are probably going to do worse, but that doesn't mean that they're going to not be top tier warbands still, because they'll just pick up probably other cards that are just as good for them.
I feel like Mollog, somebody said can break the super aggressive Mollog combo. I feel like maybe Mollog Tomes is even better now. There's no rebound, no distraction. Although Mollog uses distraction, but he's got his own version of distraction. I kind of feel like I haven't looked enough at the cards to think about it, but I feel like he is going to be pretty brutal as Beastgrave opens.
Could be suitable cards in place which are really going to stop him. So we'll have to see on that.
Well, they could be,
Malachi asks... Sorry, are you going to cover that? Go on, after you.
Go on. Yeah, you're going to... Do you enjoy the narrative for the game? I expect we'll be doing a tour of the Underworlds and the Mortal Realms. Do you know what? Toss about the narrative of the game.
It doesn't bother me at all. That's why I like this game.
I've never really...
Well, not that
because there's no narrative,
but that you don't need to care about the narrative to play this game. You can very easily, you can just pick the game up.
Exactly.
You can buy some warbands, you can buy some cards. It could be set in Star Wars for all it matters, really. It's just, I mean, the models are exquisite, the cards are very evocative in the style, but it doesn't matter overall where you're playing. It could be Lord of the Rings, it could be anything like that. It doesn't really matter that much, and personally, I quite like that, because since the AOS came along, I've just not had the time to try and immerse myself in it. I've just got too many things, and I think that's why one of the reasons why we've done well in this game is that this game is for your easy starters, for people like us who've got not enough life to give to the hobby, so you can get involved fairly well without losing a whole lifetime to it.
And also, cards aside, you can't add too much to your game. Like we played Warcry. I think Warcry is a really nice, fun rule set. Got the nice warbands, and you play them, and the box you buy is roughly 1,000 points. 3 weeks later, this Allies thing comes out, and suddenly you can add stuff. And I know people have got models and they want to use them, but you can add all this different stuff, and it completely changes the game. And with Shadespire Underworlds being contained, that can't happen. You can't suddenly bring in a new. You can't bring in an ally somewhere. You can't use your existing collection, which is something that's really nice about it. I don't think Games Workshop would do anything, but I worry a little bit that they're going outside, whether they might start to add outside interference into the game. I don't think they will, but that would worry me.
In a way that it's quite nailed down. Your warband members can't be modified. You can't change your equipment. You can't change how they're built, other than you can give them upgrades in game. But other than that, it's fairly locked down. I don't think they can expand it by adding in monsters or mercenaries and stuff like that without making the game too unbalanced. So
I don't think so, and I don't think they will. But now they've broken out of the Mirror City, I kind of feel like they might have some crazy ideas and mess up the game. They're not above destroying their own games.
That's true. That is true. I mean, they are a business. They do want to make money, so they do want to sell as much as they can. But hopefully, they can resist and they can keep the same release schedule they've got going. Because I think it works. I think it does things right.
Yeah, I think so too. Although I do question slightly the extra pack at the end of the season.
Oh, the Powers Unbound.
Whether that will still have Power Unbound and Leaders, because you're basically they haven't definitively said whether they're going to carry over into the new set or not, because they're not Shadespire. They're not Shadespire cards,
but they were released during that season. So Leaders did come out during Shadespire.
I know, but they I think
Yeah.
they will stop them, but they haven't definitively said that they will. But if they are going to stop them, you're looking at only getting a year out of those play. And if you look at the Power Unbound cards, they banned all the best ones. Well, not banned, restricted all the best ones. So you're
Yeah.
looking at buying a deck of cards that potentially, for, the Nightvolt ones, just over a year after they came out, and after they restricted a load of the good ones, you can't play them. And I would question whether it's worth even buying that deck for that.
It does make it.
But
It does annoy a little when you buy it, especially the way they released that deck about a week before the actual Grand Clash came about. So a lot of people going to the Grand Clash, like us, were stuck in a position where we didn't actually have any time to really review or test the cards out before we had to go. So whereas some other people obviously had much longer to be able to do that kind of thing. But that's a different thing we've gone on many times in the past. But I do think they will remove the leader cards when they get rid of Shadespire, and I do think they'll get rid of Powers Unbound. And
I think you're right. I think you're right, but
that is
to answer
true.
the
They
question,
haven't.
they haven't yet.
And they haven't asked about boards either. Now, there's no reason why you should be able to keep those boards in there. It all depends.
I think
they can probably calm down on the boards they're releasing, because frankly, I've already got too much choice.
Yeah, but they won't.
They won't. But I could do with it.
Yeah, that's true.
I could do with it. I could do with just different versions of the same board.
They've got a Rawk by question, which I might loop back
and
to.
so another thing that I noticed is and we talked about this briefly, is in Dreadfane there are no universal cards, and I know it's because it's a standalone self-contained game, so it may have no bearing on the rest of it, but one question swimming around there is that how they're going to do things in the future? Are they going to start releasing warbands with 32 warband specific cards, so you could pick up a warband? Because one of the complaints a lot of people make is you buy a warband, you don't have a deck, you have to immediately sit down and try and work out a deck with the cards you've got. So maybe they might start releasing warbands with 32 warband specific cards straight away, and then maybe every time they release 2 warbands, they'll release like an Echoes of Glory pack, which will have all the universals in it at the same time. I don't know. They haven't really given any indication. They probably won't.
No.
But I think it'd be a nice way of doing it, frankly.
No. I'd like them to move towards more universals, more faction specific cards in a pack. I could certainly cope with them doing 32 or whatever, however many it is, but they're always going to keep the universals spread out because they want you to buy them. They're not going to release them all at once because you just buy that and not buy the warband you didn't like, and that sucks a little bit, but that's just the way they make their money.
The fact that when we were playing the Dreadfane games, again Dreadfane mentioned, some of the cards, I can't remember what they're called, I always forget the name of them, but the sort of like the world card where random events occur and stuff like that, when they mention central hexes on the board, it gives you a guide for how to work out where the central hex is and what to do if there isn't an actual central hex, and that alludes to the fact that maybe those cards might come around in the regular game as well.
Yeah, well, you could certainly play them in the regular game. Maybe you could add that step anyway, couldn't you, if you fancied it? But whether they're going to officially be, I don't know. That is a good point, Pete. I had forgotten that. Yes, they do tell you
they might
what to do if
an article in White Dwarf just saying, hey, if you got Dreadfane, bring the cards out and use them in your games. I don't think they'll ever be in a competitive match because
they're in a funny position with that at the moment, aren't they? Because they've only released it in certain regions. So in the UK, we can't buy it. So they're in an odd position. If they do that in White Dwarf, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing a lot of readership of White Dwarf is British. Then they're going to have to say, well, you have to go and order Dreadfane from America. I don't know. Well, they're going to bring out the hazards of their own pack
or something like that, and then they'll release rules and you can do it that way. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I think that would work quite nicely. It would add a little bit of difference, a bit like the Gargant match, which was just mentioned in the channel, that things like the Gargant matches and things have to sit on the periphery a bit more, but they're nice to do every now and then.
Yeah, somebody else, or a couple of people have mentioned that cycling out the boards would enrage them because they're really expensive, and they've done 3D terrain from them. I just can't see them cycling out the boards. There's no need to, and frankly, if they did that, nobody buy any more boards ever again. So I can't see that they'll cycle out the boards. Matt Collins says he's going to miss the Cataphrane relic deck, and then he rolled his eyes at me. So I think that might be tongue in cheek.
I don't know, it might
no,
be.
it's not, but I can't remember. It's that kind of
it could be
staring eye thing, isn't it? But I don't really know what it means.
I'm quite glad that it's gone.
No, I think they're not going to. Nobody's going to miss the Cataphrane relic deck, are they?
Which is no bad thing, really. They were abused, and they were just poor. They were a good example of poor game design. I think. Yeah.
I think they're triply dead, aren't they? Because so they kind of had a bit of a resurrection when there were some extra cards you could play. There started to be enough cards you could play to play them automatically, the Godsworn one and that kind of thing. And but they nerfed that again in the last FAQ. But now they are permanently put to rest, along with the rest of the Shadespire. But we have about 10 minutes left before we have to go. So anybody got any other questions?
We are trying to keep these a bit more short and concise because we do have a tendency to just waffle on and on.
We thought rather than do one big one a month, we try and do 3 or 4
and then
shorter
we can
ones.
Talk about the flavour of the going on. This was perfect timing, and I think GW, they tend to release stuff on Mondays, and so that gives us perfect chance to start to get some feedback from what's going on in the community, and then just jabber about it for a while online and steal everybody else's ideas. So, win-win for us.
Yeah, Matt, I agree. I think the monotone deck is gonna be really common as well. Just have to see what else is in the Beastgrave box.
There is a again Dreadfane, but there is a upgrade in there which allows you to destroy people's upgrades and have the chance to be able to do it more than once. So possibly there'll be more of that kind of thing going on. People destroying upgrades, and people will be less reliant on upgrades. And upgrades, I think in the games we played, there were a couple of upgrades which were they gave you new actions. Some of them were single use. In fact, there were several single use ones. So maybe upgrades are going to move more towards the hyper powered but single use sort of upgrade, and that things like upgrades are going to be less reliable. Things you just you use less often, if that makes sense. You'll have your basics like your +1 strength and your +1 damage, +1 toughness, +1 move, and +1 wounds, that kind of thing. But +1 toughness. And you'll get weapon upgrades, but those weapon upgrades might be stronger, but one use only stuff, rather than your shape shifting. I can't remember what it's called now. The mutating maul and stuff like that.
Okay, that's pretty cool, that one. Do you think Beastgrave will introduce a new mechanic like Nightfall, introduce magic? And then somebody else added, what about behemoths being added? So 1 behemoth and 1 or 2 small units, something like Morag's Mob. I don't really like the behemoth game, so I'm hoping not. But I know Monarch isn't behemoth, but I think I do get Dwayne. I'm not sure. I kind of hope not. I don't like the Monarch games, but then that's just me. They're a bit one-dimensional. We haven't played that many, to be fair. But more interestingly is sorry, where have I gone? Not more interesting. That's not what I meant.
Robert's off the
thread. New mechanics. New mechanics. Yes. I think there will be something, but as usual, I'm terrible at predicting it. It'll be something to do with nature and being wild, but I don't know what it'll be. There will be a new mechanic, I'm sure of it. It could be the hazards, because they are going outside, so you could add hazards like need a raincoat. There was
the hazard one in our Dreadfane game again, where you could put a marker down and it became a blocked hex, but everybody next to it, I think they gained +1 damage or something like that if you were standing next to it when you made an attack. So there's that kind of thing that that'll ramp up the damage. There might also be things where you place a hex and that then becomes a healing hex or something, like if you move next to it you can spend an activation and get a wound back or something like that, maybe.
But I think there could be a new type of hex. I'm not sure. What it would be.
GW will release new warbands quicker for Beastgrave? I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they've got their schedule now. I think that works. I think that works for them, I think they'll keep it steady. I hope so.
I'd quite like to see,
we don't know.
Maybe, if anything, a slight drop in the speed of them releasing stuff. I think the Gits in the Eyes came out a bit too fast, and we could have done with maybe a little bit more time, because it wasn't like we didn't have plenty of warbands to play against anyway. Not like when Shadespire first came out and you just had Garrick versus Severin, and that was all you had. And then there was a much bigger gap between them and the Sepulchral Guard and Gerzag's Iron Skulls coming out. So I think a slightly bigger gap is nicer now that we have so many warbands to try out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not sure it will happen, but I think there's you kind of struggled. I struggled to process all the cards as well. You get so many new cards that arrive all at once. It's really hard to process what's good. It took me a while to realise, which is part of the fun of the game, I suppose. It takes a while to realise what's good and what's not. Some things that look really good at the start turned out to be rubbish. I know there was one card, I can't remember what it was now, that I took, and then it was just useless. And then I think it took me. I remember. I don't think I played Ready for Action. I know it's a long time ago, but when Ready for Action first came, I don't think I took it in my first game, which was only later. I thought, hang on, that card's quite good.
I don't think I took as often early on as I did later on. I think that might have been because in my earlier games I was trying to go more objective based in my warbands, and that went out the window in the end, and I just went to all out aggro like everybody else did. And at that point I think Ready for Action then became a near constant addition, a bit like Escalation as well.
Well, I think so. Anything that provides, and these are the cards that are going to come in from Nightbolt that aren't used and now shades by card. Anything that provides extra actions, or even if it's just a movement or an extra attack or anything like that, it's going to be bumped up. So like my turn's gone, which means more people will play aggressive defense, maybe. That's that kind of stuff. Anything that improves their action economy is going to get promoted, even if it was a bit naff. With cards like Ready for Action and
aggressive defense as well, things like that. Second Wind, I can't remember if that's season 1 or season 2, but if it's I can't
sure
remember.
that's
it might be if it's season 2, then that I think another going back to the question that Dwayne asked about coming out with behemoth warbands. I'm hoping they steer away from that a bit more, because 2 warbands which have caused a lot of consternation, which are the Curse Breakers, because they're all spellcasters, and Molog's Mob, because it's that like Molog going solo, he is like the main thing in the warband. Those 2 warbands have caused a lot of hassle, whereas most other warbands are, between 4 and 9 models, and they're all good in their own respects, and they all have their pluses and minuses. But you don't rely on any one of them completely. You can use multiple models. I mean, Godsworn are a really good example of that. But Molog, it's all Molog. And Curse Breakers is like, they're all casters, so they can all do all of those things that you need them to do to score that quick, easy glory. So I'm hoping they steer away from that and not make the warbands boring and cookie cutter and the same, but stick to a bit more of a pattern with them. So you have a few better ones, a few worse ones. Everybody's got a little role to fill.
Yeah, the big question is, will there be any Stormcast in the third series of Underworlds? None in the starter set.
A given, I think.
But I can't help. Whether they're going to sneak some in somewhere.
They've got to, because they are GW Space Marines of AOS, so they're going to be in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I would like to see, I think we did say this in the previous video, but I would like to see some Warcry representation. Cool. So maybe Untamed Beasts would fit with the Beastgrave theme, and of course but the Untamed Beasts are a bit different.
They are. I mean, getting someone like the Unmade or the
the Unmade would be quite cool. And I'm probably going to see some new undead, maybe some of the new undead guys, possibly.
There's the new Tyranids skeleton things, whatever they're called. I can't remember what they're called, but they'll almost definitely be in there. That'd be nice.
Maybe I don't know. They don't always bring their new stuff in, do they?
They haven't put the Daughters of Cain in. They haven't put the Idoneth in, so they're too.
I'd like to see more rats. Luke Ingram as well. Even though I don't play Skaven, I'd like to see more rats, because they're Starsaur Swarms, whatever they're called, is the more interesting. One of the more interesting.
They have some funky
warbands, I think.
I think they've got some of the more fun mechanics, definitely.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably just about us done for this evening. So I don't know if Ed's asked for dinosaurs. I know.
It always asks for dinosaurs.
I just don't think they're ever going to release any Seraphon. I don't know why. They just don't seem to care about them. They've got the models there. They're pretty GWIP protected, but they just don't seem to care that much about them.
Yeah. Maybe it'd be great if they did. They've got the jungle sort of scene. Maybe like a Velociraptor or something. How awesome would that be? I don't know what they call that.
It's not jungle though, is it? It's more forest.
Raptorix or something.
So.
Well. Okay, yes, they're completely different things. Sorry.
But apart from that, my comment still stands.
Yeah, it's just a hot forest. There's not much difference really.
Plague monks. Plague monks would be quite nasty. Yeah. So I think I'd like to see, maybe would see a new Rawk warband. Maybe we'll see Savage Orcs come out, possibly.
Maybe. I don't mean
Sorry?
Savage Orcs. Not a fan of. I don't like
Say
Savage
I'm a
Orcs. I'm not
massive
a fan of
but they
Savage
kind
Orcs,
of
but
fit the
maybe.
narrative in there.
They do.
So I think we've probably reached quite
right.
a healthy stop here. We've been going for 45 minutes. Hopefully we've answered everyone's questions.
Yeah. I hope so. I've enjoyed doing this because Joe says good format. Enjoyed it. Thanks for having these. No worries. Do tune in next week. The time might vary. Various things happen in the week. I've got a feeling there's something going on next week that's might mean it's a different day, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But we will post up on Facebook and on our community pages and everywhere we can think of where we're going to be and when we're going to be.
Try and be.
But there will be a new bones. And Emmanuel said, "Yeah, I think you're probably right there." And rattling guns in Underworld.
That would be pretty cool. They'll probably blow up in about 5 seconds though. Bonecast I think will definitely be in there. That might be something that tempts me, the Bonecast. I'm still not sold on those models, frankly, but so if you have enjoyed this, do please check out in the description. There's a whole bunch of links in there to give you ways to help us out if you appreciate it and you want to support us in some way and you're not already. Do like and follow the page, do hit the notifications bell thing, and that way when we come online you'll see it pop up and you won't even have to worry about looking for links or anything like that, but I will do my best to make sure they get shared out everywhere as soon as we're live next time, really. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Dwayne's asked us to play Shadespire Goodbye Games. I don't know if we're going to have time. It's really going to depend on when.
It all comes down to how much time we have spare for that kind of thing. Robin's connection might have died, so it might just be me talking for a minute before I kill his connection off. It's gonna pause at that horrible point where he's got that ridiculous looking sort of pained grin on his face. I'm not sure what that is, but it's possibly the best point to finish this broadcast on. So you paused on possibly the most ridiculous looking facial expression I've ever seen, Robin, frankly, is all I can say.
Oh, brilliant.
So
I just froze out, or I'm paused now. I can see
it was the Robin grin. You'll have to go back and look at it afterwards, Robin. It was quite spectacular. So I was just saying that it all comes down to the amount of time we have spare sometimes, where we how much time we have to play the games. So we'd like to play some Shadespire Goodbye games, but it just might not come. We might not have the time, frankly.
No. I'm glad I paused there. I'm glad that was entertaining for everybody.
Yeah, it was quite fun. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for next time, we'll be sure to post up some notification on when we're going to be live, so you know when to tune in. Do follow us. Do check out the links in the description. Do all that good stuff, and we shall see you soon.